Welcome to the policy forum organized by the ECA called Beyond the Findings, What's Next for the European Craftsmanship. Today, I will give the word shortly to Cristina Mendes, who is the ECA president, for the welcome and introduction. Then we will present the key findings of two studies, one done by FOACAL. It's the white paper on European craftsmanship. And this is going to be done by Félix Sanz, and he's going to be supported by Amaya Barahona. And then we will give the floor also to Audrey Aubard, who has done a study for the ECA called Study on Cross-Cutting Priorities in Europe for the crafts. After that, we want to engage in a discussion to discuss from recommendations to action. I will be moderating that, and then at the end we will have a Q&A session where everyone can come in and ask questions or recommendations or share ideas. Okay, so today is about moving from research to action. As you know, this forum is sparked by two major documents, as I already shared with you, and I'm going to give the floor to Cristina Mendes to give some introductory words. Thank you. You are unmuted, Cristina, sorry.
I think now. You can hear me now?
Yes, perfect, loud and clear.
Okay. So thank you, Laura, and thank you. It's very to all of you. It's very good to see so many known faces and friends and people interested in our session. Thank you for joining this session that is dedicated to two strategic studies for the future of European craftsmanship. The white paper on European craftsmanship led by Félix Sanz from FOACAL presents the case of a shared European approach to a sector with a strong cultural and economic relevance. It shows how craftsmanship generates local employment, preserves intangible heritage, and supports sustainable production models. It also highlights the need for a coherent European framework that overcomes fragmented national approaches and lays the groundwork for the future legislation. It's difficult sometimes. And next we'll have the study on cross-cutting priorities for the European crafts sector, a study that was commissioned by the European Crafts Alliance, and it was led by Audrey Aubard. That arrives at a key moment as several European initiatives close their current programming cycles. It offers concrete recommendations and thematic priorities to reinforce public policies and ensure that European funding supports a dynamic craft ecosystem able to enrich economies and communities across Europe. So I invite you to engage actively in our discussion and to bring your opinions and your suggestions in order to be able to create a cooperation for the crafts sector and a meaningful action. That's what we need for the future. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Cristina. So now it's the turn of Félix and Amaya to present the white paper on European crafts. It's a really extensive document that I hope that you can summarize into, let's see, 15 minutes. So please go ahead, Félix.
Hi. Okay. Can you see? Can you see?
Not yet.
No, not yet. No.
Wait. Yes, it's coming.
Okay.
Yeah, you just need to put it in full screen mode. Yeah, that's perfect. We can see it. So go ahead. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cristina. Thank you very much, Laura. First, sorry, because I have a very bad English pronunciation. but I won't speak slow because my English is bad. No. I would like to thank the European Craft Alliance for inviting us to this presentation for their interest in the European Craft White Paper. The white paper has been published by FOACAL, and Amaya Barahona, who is the Vice President of FOACAL and President of the Organization of Artisans of Spain, forwarded by Amaya and I as manager of FOACAL. FOACAL is a benchmark in cultural and heritage policies in Castilla y León, Spain, management of European project, innovation, and territorial cooperation. We have experience in strategic analysis and development of the regulatory frameworks, consolidate a network of associations, training centers, and cultural entities. We have 25 years of experience in continuous training for professionals and adults. Oficiarte is the national representation of the Spanish craft sector that maintain a network of artisan workshops, associations, and professional groups. Thanks to that, accumulate technical and documentary knowledge, state-level interlocution, and capacity for sectoral mobilization. The process of the white papers begins with the celebration of the International Craft Congress in León, Spain, in 2025. Bringing together administrations, experts, and the professional sector all together with the commitment to the promotion of the said European framework. During the summer of the 2025, the white paper was drafted with direct collaboration with networks and platforms of the ECA craft ecosystems. It is the first Spanish document with the ambition of the European reference. The white paper proposed the definition of map, registers, legal framework, and criteria by country, identifying divergences for future harmonizations. The methodology followed for the preparation of the white paper has been through consultation of studies, direct observation of the sector, and consultation with experts. We have used European studies and projects such as Craft Code, ECA, consultation, data networks, diagnosis of the resilience, digitalization, very complicated for Spanish people, this work, digitalization and consumption of cash. In the sectoral observation, it continues with examples such as documentary review, analysis of national and regional frameworks, and a continuous dialogue with the sector, consultations with workshops, associations, and grassroots groups, combining professional practice plus public policy. As an example, the Spanish case of crafts has been studied, where there is a clear fragmentation, lack of statistical data and weak representation structure. There are regional regulations with different definitions, registrations, and requirements depending on the country. There is a lack of reliable date because there is no statistical category and therefore there is a lack of visibility of the sector and an absence of specific national policies. This is a heterogeneous sector and clear absence of a state structure with isolated workshops, voluntary registration, and very limited coordination between regions. Artisanal activities are hidden among multiple national codes of industry and commerce. This fact prevents obtaining statistical data specific of the sector. The lack of the knowledge of the social and cultural importance of artisan activities make us forget the value of material and immaterial heritage and the importance it has in the recognition of the identified. Artisan activities are invisible, and it's not possible for society to give the value to what is unknown. Another great problem is the lack of the European definition. Without a safe definition, each country interprets craftsmanship differently. This prevents the sector from being recognized as a coherent block of activities within the European Union. The need of the recognition of economic activity is the first need of the sector. Without this recognition, it's impossible to obtain social and economic data that allow us to understand the importance of the sector in the European GDP and in job creation. Without this data is very difficult to implement sectoral support and development policies. Without data, there is no visibility. Another of the most important challenges is to achieve a common definition of craft in their activities in the member states of the European Union. It is necessary to have a common legal framework for our member states of the European Union as a first step to obtain an economic identification system. The lack of a common legal framework prevents the existence of a political structure that implements development and promotion actions for all European craft activities. The white paper presents key question about definition and registers. What defines the craftsmanship in Europe? What does each country define it? What is recognized as a craft profession? What registers exist? What is excluded? Also, we present a question about classification and measurement. How is it classified and measured? There are gaps in current classification, missing activities. What data we need to measure employment, impact, and territorial relevance. The white paper is structured in 5 parts. Covers the legislation, regulation, policies of the countries, and ends up making proposals for change and needs, and a roadmap to achieve the objective defined in the book. The roadmap is organized in 3 phases. The first part will take 2 years for the creation and coordination of the European craft structures. A second phase for policy consideration and monitoring of the impact on the sector. And the third phase that will allow the sector to be promoted in the ecological and sustainable transition. The principal aim is that over a period of 15 years, crafts will obtain the recognition of the structures necessary to promote their development and contribute to fair and more sustainable growth engine. No more. It's very quickly. Thank you very much for listening us, and we are at your disposal for any question or comments.
Thank you so much, Félix. Muchas gracias, Félix, and also for your effort to give this introduction in English. I know this is not easy for everyone. We will keep the questions for now in the chat. You know, you can ask and you can comment and you can share any ideas that you have. We will come to that later. But now I would like to give the floor to Audrey Aubard. Are you there, Audrey? She is going to present the study on cross-cutting priorities for the European craft sector and the Creative Europe program. This is a study that we have the ECA has supported. You know that we have been doing in the past 3 years. We published 5 different studies, sorry, with different aspects, and this was the last one that we did, and we just launched it in May this year. So that now we wanted to share the findings, and that's why we have Audrey here. Unfortunately, she cannot share the screen due to technical issues, and I'm going to do that for you. So let's see if we can see it, if everyone can see the screen. Yes, okay. So you just let me know when you want me to move it.
Okay, so thank you very much, Laura. Good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure for me to present some key findings of the study on cross-cutting priorities for the European craft sector that was made by ECA. I will not go into all the details of the study, so I invite you to consult it if you want to have more details, and I will just focus on some key aspects. I hope that will complement the presentation of Félix. So we can move to the other slide. Thank you very much. So to introduce the presentation, we can all recognize that the craft sector in Europe embodies a rich cultural heritage and diversity of know-hows, and that it contributes also to the economic development and the social cohesion in all the territories and all the regions. So this study aimed at addressing the critical challenges and also to have a kind of reflection on how to enhance the sector visibility within the EU policy frameworks. Next slide, please. What is reflected in the study is, the concept of fragmentation, and which lead to what Félix said just before. The crafts activities are absolutely fragmented among the EU policies, among the EU tools, and disproportionately emphasize cultural and heritage aspects, which is something, well, a little bit reducing and underscoring the need for a more cohesive and comprehensive approach, and that prevents also the EU institution to have a broader vision and a more economic vision of what crafts represent for our territories. Next slide, please. So just to mention the main cross-cutting priorities that are defined by the EU institutions, we have 7 cross-cutting priorities. I will not go into the details of each of these priorities. We have the audience, the social inclusion, economy and growth, sustainability, new technologies, territory cohesion, and the international dimension. And some of them are more important from my point of view from the other ones. So I will present you the key findings. So the main insights from this study, as I mentioned before, is the EU policy fragmentation. So everything is linked, and because of the lack of definition, because of the lack of NACE code, the European craft sector face a policy fragmentation with, well, covering all the policies, I mean, of the European institution, but we don't have a recraft policy. Moreover, as I mentioned before, the main reflection of the European policies focus only on cultural aspect. And from my point of view, if I can share that, craft is more than a cultural aspect. Culture is one of the components, but not the only one. So it prevents us, as I mentioned before, from having an holistic approach for the craft sector and a comprehensive policy for the craft sector. I will not repeat the lack of craft definition, which is a real weakness for all of us. And the other point is, I mean, because of all this fragmented context, we have also a weak representation, and based on the findings of the study, there is a real need of having a stronger political representation that could be handled by European Craft Alliance to advocate for a most consistent approach of the EU policy for the craft sector, and defends different types of public tools to be implemented for the craft sector, such as financial support or more consistent policy. Next slide, please. So, among also the challenges and the key findings, we have also a low public awareness, and I think we have already seen that crafts have a limited visibility. And well, having a more consistent approach of the crafts will allow for more understanding, more introduction in our mentality of the importance of the craft for our economy. Linked with that also the growth and the inclusion, because the craft sector, and I think we need to repeat that again and again, craft sector plays a significant role in the EU economy and in the territories of the European Union. And also we need that more funding programs to take into account and are more tailored to the SMEs we are representing, because most of the time, you know that we have EU funding so complicated that are not accessible to our craftsmanships. Next slide, please. So, another topic which is very important is the enhancement of the entrepreneurial skills, and I think this is not the only study that mentions and that points at this real need, and also the professional mentorship, which is a key aspect of the transmission of the knowledge on the craft sector. So we need also to make some progress and to have more tools that encourage the transmission of know-how and the improvement of skills for the entrepreneurs. Also, another topic, and I saw Jean that was mentioning something about the GI, but I mean, we are not speaking about GIs today, but more protecting the intangibles, because the craft sector touches upon all the categories of the intellectual property. And I think that today, with the influence of the artificial intelligence, we need to protect more and more the creation of the craft sector. So in the study, I also emphasize on the importance of intellectual property rights, and speaking about all the intellectual property rights, to protect and to valorize also the intangibles that are created by the craft sector. So there is a need to improve the knowledge, the access, and then the management of the intellectual property. Yes, Laura, you can move to the next slide. Okay. So, as a conclusion, and you may understand that, so we need, obviously, a unified European crafts strategy. That's what I was saying just before, that based on the findings on the fragmented approach, on the limited, if I can say that, the limited consideration of the crafts only dedicated at EU level to culture and not as an economic part of our different economy, we need to defend a more comprehensive and holistic approach to integrate all the elements of the craft sector, I mean the economy, the social and the cultural dimension. And also, we need to ensure that the crafts and the support of the sector, with the visibility, the fostering of the sustainability growth, etc., are reflected in the European policies. Next slide, please. So, other conclusion of the study, as I mentioned before, as ECA is representing today the most important network of the crafts bodies in Europe, if I can say that. One idea, instead of creating something else, is using what is existing in your network and to empower it in order to advocate for more consistent policy, European policy, and to develop also the collaboration among the stakeholders. But ECA can be the voice of the European crafts and defend a comprehensive approach of the EU policies for crafts. Okay. Also, one other point which I have already developed is the need to simplify also the regulatory framework. We speak a lot about simplification, if I can say that in English. I don't know if it's an English name, but we need to simplify. We hear about that, and I think this is something very important because our sector, we have a lot of small enterprises, and we need tailored frameworks for our enterprises. So I think it's very important to allow for a business growth for the craft sector and reducing the bureaucratic hurdles. Okay, last point, I also mentioned some key aspects and addressing policy gaps on different types of topics. One of the topics which is very important and which is being developed by the EU at the moment is the public procurement. And this is something very important. I don't know if every country is playing the game, I mean, in its territory, but there is a real need to defend the prioritization of local products in the government contract. And this is something in France, if I can speak about France now, we are defending. Also, there is the topic of the international dimension. And also it is very important to facilitate the craft market access in the trade agreement. Okay, today we speak a lot about agriculture, the big industries, but there is no reference to the market access for our crafts. And we know that the international market is one of the opportunity for our sector. The other point, which is very important also, is the regional cohesion. So it has different types of aspects, but we need to support policies for local production, for the integration of the crafts in the territorial or the regional policy. And also we need to make some links with tourism. And lastly, and I think that Félix also mentioned that, the sustainable practices, we need to encourage environmentally friendly methods in the crafting, but this is nothing new for you. Next slide, please. So I think we will be discussing about the next steps just afterwards, and I think that's it for me. Thank you very much for your attention, and I remain at your disposal if you have some questions.
Thank you so much, Audrey, for this clear presentation about the study. I know that for both of you, it has been quite difficult to summarize these extensive studies into something shorter and understandable for our public. But I would like now to enter a bit the debate. And as you know, we have a little time for this panel discussion, which is called From Recommendations to Actions. And we want to translate the findings into policy approaches and future collaborations across the European craft ecosystem. So I would like to ask, I think, a very simple question to both of you. It's about both documents. They show structural challenges and opportunities for the craft sector in Europe. What do you consider the top 3 priorities that should be translated into concrete policy measures, and why those 3? Anyone of Audrey, Félix, or Amaya, if you can do it in Spanish. As you know, we have explained before how to use the translation tool. I hope it works.
Si quieres contestar tú, pues...
Bueno, a ver si es lo mismo que tú. Bueno, en mi opinión, creo que la necesidad prioritaria que tenemos es definir qué es la artesanía, ¿no? Aparte de hacer una categorización de oficios por funcionalidad o como hemos propuesto nosotros en el libro blanco, realmente tendríamos que hacer como una especie de definición de definir bien los procesos y las técnicas, la trazabilidad, ese tipo de cosas, la escala humana, que sea como la base definitoria del proceso artesano, ¿no? Dejando a un lado qué necesidades responde o qué expresión utilitaria hace o artística. Y esa sería como la principal, intentar ponernos de acuerdo en un marco común. Y después, a mí me parece prioritario que cada país tenga una especie de consejo artesano, que luego eso se ascienda a una especie de mesa también europea, que es lo que nos estaba comentando Audrey, ¿no? Y bueno, eso sería, yo creo que con esas 2 ya tendríamos un trabajo ya bastante, yo me arriesgo a decir una tercera, ¿eh?
Muchas gracias, Amaya. Thank you, Amaya. Audrey, you want to add your 3 priorities?
Yes. Well, I totally share what Amaya said, because it's the most important topic. I would share 3 priorities. Well, based also on my knowledge in France. So for me, one of the most important things is to support the craft education and the transmission, which is something very important because we have a generational gap And I fear that more and more we will be losing some know-hows. We will be losing some crafts in our territory. So I think this is very important. A special focus should be dedicated to that. The other important point is the access of funding and resources, and as I mentioned, tailored for the craft makers. Because most of the time, depending if you have some regions, some territories that implemented some specific measures helping helping the crafts, it can work, but not in all the territories. So I think there is something more, I don't know, harmonized to think about. And the last point is the promotion, and I saw the comment of Jean, the promotion of the craft in the EU policy frameworks, and I think there is a huge work of advocacy to implement in the coming years.
Wow, thank you so much. And do you think what of these proposals, the two from Amaya, that if you didn't follow in Spanish, she said about the definition, a common framework on what crafts is, what the crafts trades are, and the creation of crafts council at national level that come together at an European level, and the other three that Audrey said. Which of those do you think that are feasible at a short period of time, like in the coming 2-3 years, and which ones do you think are more difficult to implement?
Bueno, voy a contestar en español. Yo creo que el objetivo a corto plazo más importante que tendríamos que conseguir es tomar conciencia, primero las propias organizaciones artesanas europeas, de la importancia socioeconómica, como decía Audrey, que tiene el sector en la creación de empleo y de riqueza en la Unión Europea. Porque esa toma de conciencia nos va a permitir presionar a nuestros gobiernos de cada país para que empiecen a tener en cuenta en sus políticas las medidas de impulso y de desarrollo. Yo creo que ese es el primer paso. Y como decía Amaya, uno de los primeros puntos es la creación de consejos de Estado en donde los artesanos podamos dialogar con los representantes del gobierno de forma directa y también obtener datos socioeconómicos del sector en cada país. En España, el Ministerio de Industria estima unos 125.000 empleos directos del sector. En la estimación que hacemos nosotros en el libro blanco, incluyendo actividades que no incluye el Ministerio de Industria, como son las actividades vinculadas con la restauración del patrimonio, la ilustración, los trabajos de arte en temas audiovisuales. Nosotros, a grosso modo, ya identificamos más de 300.000 empleos directos solo en España, ¿no? Esto, elevado al nivel europeo, implicaría millones de empleos relacionados con las actividades de los oficios artísticos y tradicionales. Y eso es muy importante. Yo creo que eso es lo primero que tenemos que conseguir a corto plazo.
Sí, porque básicamente si no conseguimos eso, el sector sigue siendo invisible porque no se puede medir. Al no poderse medir, pues no se reconoce su impacto y pues nada, eso al final es que implica problemas de relevo generacional porque ni siquiera las personas jóvenes saben la importancia o la viabilidad económica de los oficios artesanos. Incluso los nuevos, las neoartesanías, al no haber estructura, pues las puede costar consolidarse y pues da esa sensación de no ser profesiones estables, ¿no? Realmente esto es como un círculo.
Muchas gracias, Audrey. What's your view?
Well, I totally share. I will add also, as the comment are referring to the educational gap. I mean, this is very, very urgent. We cannot wait anymore, and we need to find some common solution at the EU level. And then, well, at more long term, we will have, well, the whole policy measures, etc., etc. But I think that the economic data, what you are mentioning, Amaya, well, it's the most important thing at the moment.
Okay. I have a question for you, Audrey, now. You were mentioning just in your presentation about this lack of funding, that there is no targeted funding for craftspeople. And in the study, you also highlight all the funding tools that are currently available that kind of support crafts. And you highlight also the gaps and barriers, as you explained just. And in your eyes, what concrete changes to the Creative Europe program or other EU programs will make it significantly more effective for craftspeople and craft enterprises? What do you think they could be added or implementing to make this funding much easier?
Well, if we can focus on Creative Europe, I mean that what struck me is the limited approach of the craft, and this is something that, well, as I mentioned, well, craft is culture. No, I mean, it's not only culture. Culture is part of the craft, but not only. And I was just checking this morning the different types of activities that were covered by the Creative Europe. We have the architecture, the cultural heritage, the music, and books and publication. Well, and so I think that there are some missing sectors there that we need also some help. So I think that Creative Europe should consider, because crafts is part of the economy, they should consider more broadly the craft sector and the tools that will be used to help the sector.
I have a question for both of you. Do you think it will be interesting to have one targeted funding only for craftspeople? And in line of what you are saying, who will be in charge of that? Culture, economy, enterprise? You know, there's so many fields. What do you think are the pros and cons of maybe having something like this? ¿Me entendiste, Félix?
No.
No. I will do the quick translation. Si crees que sería conveniente tener un fondo o una ayuda especial para artesanos, exclusivamente para empresas artesanas, que se adapte a sus necesidades. Pero como decía Audrey, ¿quién lo gestionaría? Por ejemplo, en la Comisión Europea, cultura, empresa, emprendimiento, economía, porque como toca todos los palos.
Sí. Bueno, en primer lugar, sí, creo que debe haber unas líneas de ayudas específicas para las empresas y los profesionales de artesanía. Incluso ya son ayudas que existen en los diferentes países y regiones de la Unión Europea, con lo cual no sería simplemente elevarlo a la escala europea. Y luego esto debería ser gestionado de una forma rápida y directa y sin mucha burocracia por los propios países, que deberían articular métodos para que esas ayudas llegaran sin, yo creo que también Audrey hacía alusión a ello, sin una excesiva burocracia, porque al final son microempresas o profesionales los que están en el sector artesanal, ¿no? Con lo cual, sí, sí que debe hacerse y debe haber un sistema de acceso a este tipo de ayudas, ¿no?
Audrey?
Bueno, perdón, una cosa que se me olvidaba, disculpa, es que quién lo gestiona, si cultura o economía. Esta es una de nuestras grandes discusiones siempre, ¿no? Si la actividad de la artesanía forma parte del patrimonio cultural porque es heredera de unas técnicas y unos procesos que forman parte también de la identidad propia europea y que se remontan a la época preindustrial, pero eso no limita exclusivamente a una actividad cultural, ¿no? La actividad de la artesanía también es una actividad económica que pone productos y servicios en el mercado y por lo tanto debe ser gestionada también como tal, ¿no? Como una actividad económica, ¿no? Si no lo hacemos así, estaremos hablando de etnografía o de antropología, pero no estaremos hablando de empresas vivas, ¿no? Con lo cual, a mí me da igual, ¿no? Yo, sinceramente, nuestra experiencia es que estamos mejor representados en áreas de políticas de industria o de economía, porque la cultura al final siempre acaba viendo cosas más muertas, ¿no?
Yeah.
Audrey, ¿quieres?
Yes, I share. I think that I will see maybe two levels of European intervention. The one level I share what Félix said. Economy for me is the economy. We need to integrate crafts inside the economy in order to benefit from all the tools for innovation, for investment, etc., and not just be focused like a museum. And something I will not say almost dead, but well, it's more or less considered like that. And I think there is a need of modernity, and I don't think that the culture entrance is the good one. However, for the training, the education, I think we still need to work with the direction of youth education, etc., in order to have the appropriate tools to foster the all educational tools that we could implement in our countries.
Okay.
But it's just a direct reflection.
No, we are here for that. Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of comments in the chat. People are raising hands already. So I'm going to open the debate to everyone instead of me asking to you questions. I have a lot of questions, but I wanted to hear more voices. So I'm going to give the floor to the two people that already raised the question, raised their hands. It would be nice if you could say who you are and where you are coming from, just to get to know you. So first one was is Angeliki Demerzi. I don't know if I say your name well, but if you can open your mic and
Perfectly well. Thank you very, very much. I am Angeliki Demerzi, coming from Athens, Greece. I have a PhD in economic geography, more specifically studying the craftsmanship in Athens, and more specifically the jewelry clusters in Athens. And also I have recently delivered a study on behalf of the General Federation of Greek Craftsmen and Professionals. So I'm really, really happy to hear that we share common visions and ending up to common conclusions. I would like to express my 100% agreement with Audrey when speaks about the value beyond the cultural values within the crafts. There are more values that could be seen in the contemporary era, like economic, technological, innovative. There are many studies across Europe and beyond, speaking about the potential of moduling the products with technological innovation and handcrafted finalizations, useful products, not only aesthetically nice products to decorize our homes or our, if you know what I mean. The second point I would like to speak about is the classification matter that has arisen from the first presentation. I'm not sure if I have understood well if we need a new classification on something like that. I'm not sure if this would be the case regarding craft sector, because there are a lot of classifications already, including crafts like the brand new UNESCO classification framework, perceiving all the cultural industries as ecosystems. So there would be a potential there if we can, if you or we can get exploited this work already done. I think in terms of yes, the third and last point I would like to talk about is the need in the political framework, in the pan-European political framework level. There is a very strong need regarding the distribution framework of products across Europe, and how the quality is assured when the distribution of the imports is getting assured. So that's by me. Thank you very, very much. I promise to include these two studies in my reading list during my Christmas break. And so happy to meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Angeliki. We will also share the link to where we have all the previous studies that we have done. In case you get really bored during Christmas, you will have more studies available. Yeah, Audrey, your turn. You also commented already in the chart about the generational gap that we were speaking. Please, go ahead.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Grigore Andrei Traistaru, founder of BESPI. My background is entirely shaped by craft and manufacturing world. I started working in Romania back in 2010 and continue my career since 2017 in UK on the high-end bespoke furniture industry. So across the country and the company, the scale of the projects, I saw same systematic problems like all of us we were aware of. And I get to the point where I realize the industry isn't failing because of people, it's failing because of infrastructure. And that's why I started building BESPI. BESPI, it's aiming not to be just a platform, but a digital ecosystem and infrastructure layer designed perfectly for craftsmanship. It aims to connect designer, studio, artisan, craftsmanship in a trusted, verified environment, to certify skills and excellence through a framework which I still collaborate with people from different industries to put it together. We're gonna enable cross-border mobility. We're gonna use agentic AI to coordinate creative workflows from concept, design to fabrication, to keep a digital thread for all decision and variation, to try to reduce error and delays and misinterpretation in bespoke production, and also to provide towards policymakers real data about skills, training needs, and cultural values.
Mm-hmm.
And BESPI, it's aiming to become the digital backbone of European craftsmanship, and not just European, global craftsmanship.
Okay, thank you very much, Audrey. You can share, if you want, the link in the chat of what you mentioned, so that everyone can check it.
For the moment, the platform is not live.
Okay. Then
we are building it.
Okay, you can share it with us, and we can share it with our followers.
And from there, with the help of the institution, hopefully, we aim to bring it live by the middle of next year.
Okay.
For everyone to benefit of it.
We wish you best of luck. We wish you best of luck for this. Before I give the word to Cristina, I want just to quickly ask Félix, because it's very much related to this. In the white paper, there is you acknowledge the issues around transmission of skills, generational renewal, training provision. We have been speaking about this already. What is, from your point of view, the most urgent needs in craft education and training? And which models can we follow, like formal education, apprenticeships, peer-to-peer, digital online training, hybrid learning? What do you think should be the way for because we see that there is this generational gap and there is many need for training. Do you have like the magical solution that we can tell politicians?
No, sorry, I haven't. No, lo siento, no tengo una respuesta. No sé exactamente cuál es la mejor opción, cuál es la mejor medida. Sí que empezamos a conocer cuáles son las que no funcionan, ¿no? Que probablemente nos ayude por eliminación, ¿no? La actual formación que se está impartiendo en las escuelas de arte o de bellas artes están eliminando de forma sistemática todos los aprendizajes de los oficios tradicionales por una cuestión, no sé si realmente responde al mercado de trabajo o a cuestiones sociales, perdón. Pero eso no funciona. El sistema oficial o el sistema arreglado no está funcionando para a la hora de la renovación o el relevo generacional en los oficios tradicionales. Eso está ahora mismo, ¿no? Por otro lado, los sistemas de aprendizaje no formal, nosotros tenemos mucha experiencia en esto, tienen otro problema grande, que es que no tienen sistemas de certificación de calidad. Es decir, todo el mundo ofrecemos formación no formal, pero evidentemente no es igual en todos los lugares. No existen unas metodologías certificadas o comparadas que permitan que la transmisión del conocimiento se haga de forma correcta. Y eso también produce muchos problemas porque hay personas que inician procesos de aprendizaje en lugares equivocados que al final generan frustración. Entonces, realmente yo no sé cuál es la fórmula. Probablemente Cristina, seguro que Cristina Mendes tenga más conocimiento sobre estos temas, pero creo que estamos aprendiendo sobre la marcha, ¿no? Por otro lado, también podrían existir fórmulas de aprendizaje en los propios talleres para aquellas personas que ya han pasado por una formación formal en escuelas de arte o universidades de bellas artes o en otro tipo de formación, que luego puedan complementar la formación ya no como aprendices, sino como trabajadores en los propios talleres. Pero esta fórmula ya hay, por lo menos en España ya ha habido varias experiencias, debe estar financiada por la administración, no puede ser soportada por los propios artesanos que incorporan a esta gente en formación, a estos, no quiero llamarlo aprendices, a estos trabajadores en formación. Por lo tanto, no tengo respuesta. No, es complicado, ¿no? El aprendizaje, es decir, ahora mismo en los oficios, hay actividades que, por ejemplo, ya en España empiezan a desaparecer porque no hay un reflejo en la formación formal ni en la formación no formal.
Pero que sí que tienen viabilidad económica.
Pero es curioso, ¿no? Como dice Amaya, es una paradoja porque hay talleres que están cerrando que económicamente funcionan porque no hay relevo generación, porque no hay nadie formado en este tipo de cosas.
Ok. Muchas gracias, Félix. Ahora sí, sorry. Cristina, please go ahead. Sorry for...
No, it's okay because it's okay because Félix mentioned very important things about the key priority that Audrey also highlighted in her study, that is support education and the transmission of knowledge. This is very, very important because if you don't have professionals, you don't have a sector. You need people that work, know what they do. And education has been a huge problem. you have already presented me as the president of ECA, but I have more than 30 years of experience in vocational training in Portugal, and it's a puzzle how to solve the education and training for crafts, and we already have some solutions that we should share among all of us in Europe. We have some professions that we need a peer-to-peer education system, but you don't have the funding for this kind of education. You have informal education that you can translate, and in nowadays we have already we have systems like the certification and validation of skills acquired along your life, but you don't have an European system to recognize this kind of skills that you have learned during your experience in your life. So you have many tools, but we don't have a common tool to translate all these problems. But this is the main question: is to create and educate and training new professions to have a sector. But we have another problem, because you can have a very good system, the educational and training system is possible to have, but still don't attract new professionals, because you need to offer a good future profession. And we all live in a society when you don't translate to numbers, you don't exist. Félix found a very good term. We are hidden. We are all over the place, but nobody notices. We represent employment, but nobody recognizes that. So if you don't have visibility to the sector, if you are not able to show this is a good profession, this has future, this sector represents millions of euros, thousands and thousands of employments, you are not able to attract anyone. Nobody wants to go to a profession that does not exist, does not have future, is not going to provide you for the future. No father or mother would like to lead their children to this kind of profession. So we have to deal at the same time with both. We have to exist. We have to say we are a sector. We represent thousands and thousands of employments. So you can have a future here, and then we have to translate with a common tool, and we have that. Each one of us in our country has found a solution. We just have to connect all the solutions and translate to a common tool. So that was what I wanted to underline, and I liked very much when Audrey underlined this key priority, because sometimes we keep discussing about culture and if we should enter by culture, or we are a business. We are a business. We have to be a business. With some upgrades, we really represent local development. We are sustainable. We have an important role in culture, but we are a business.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cristina. It was a really interesting approach, and yeah, if we have already the solutions, why it is so hard to implement it? I mean, that's the tricky question. Sorry, David, I see that you raised your hand, but I want to go first to a question that was in the chat before, and which is very much related with Cristina's speech. Charles is asking, well, speech, I mean intervention, sorry. It's hard to speak in English when we are not a native speaker. So Charles was asking, how can craft be promoted to a new young audience? Because of course, these trainings that we want to do, it's for a new audience. It's like the future. So he's asking that. And another question that is related is, does our increasingly digital world, artificial intelligence, etc., make the authenticity of craft increasingly valuable? These are two questions asked by Charles in the chat. And I don't know if Audrey or Félix and Amaya want to answer.
No sé si quieres contestar tú o...
Bueno,
como aclarar al público joven.
Yo creo que sí que hay quizá un error que cometemos a menudo el sector artesano, que es no comunicarnos bien, porque parece que estamos eternamente agonizando, ¿no? Entonces, igual deberíamos de enfocar hablábamos entre nosotros, Félix y yo, de un discurso más positivo, ¿no? Viéndolo como una alternativa real. Hablábamos antes de que, claro, al ser invisibles no somos reconocibles. Si empezamos a ser visibles, podemos empezar a ofrecer cosas, ¿no? Yo creo que sí que el impacto de la IA, por ejemplo, yo en mi caso personal, que me dedico a las artes plásticas, sí que hay, o sea, yo sí noto que hay una preocupación. Todo este entorno del craft thinking, del slow shopping, sí que hay personas, la persona que no le gusta comprar en el bazar te va a comprar a ti como artesano, ¿no? O sea, yo creo que sí que se divide en dos tipos de consumo al final. Creo que al final es complementario, vamos a tener que caminar con ello, ¿no?
Sí, bueno, no, yo sí que quería decir también que no creo que sea necesario utilizar estrategias especiales para llegar a los jóvenes, ¿no? Los jóvenes, yo creo que los más jóvenes creo que están viéndolo todo, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, simplemente con ser visibles, yo creo que y demostrar realmente lo que también decía Cristina, ¿no? La importancia socioeconómica que tiene el sector, las familias van a entender que realmente es una alternativa laboral y profesional para los hijos, ¿no?
Yes, I would just add two more things because I have a teenager at home. I don't know what is the situation in your country, but in the school, there is absolutely no information about the craft. We don't know it exists. So if you don't have a father, mother, grandparents that are interested in and introduce the children to this kind of knowledge, they don't know. They just don't know, and they can imagine they can be footballer or they can work as a service. Well, I think this is just one point. It's part of the national policy to introduce again this kind of knowledge at the first level of school. And the other point, it was raised in the chat that I think that also, and I saw that with my daughter, that the information in the social network, it's very, very important to raise the awareness of the young people of the craft sector. Very important.
Yo creo
Maybe we need to highlight that.
Yo estoy completamente de acuerdo contigo, Audrey, porque yo ya os dije que soy gestora patrimonial y creo que si hay una educación patrimonial para saber diferenciar las cosas y el valor de las cosas es cuando se consumirán. Si no, es todo una amalgama de estímulos grises y no se diferencian las cosas.
Thank you so much. David, it's your turn now, and maybe you can also answer the question about how to reach young audiences, because you recently organized Crafts Now, which is a good example on reaching these new people for the craft sector, right?
Yes, that precisely, that's one of the things I wanted to share with you. We had last week our Craft Now Festival, the edition of this year, and I must say that it was a total success in terms of reaching young people, because we were very surprised. We risked a little with this new format, and we didn't know how it would come out. And it was a total success because it was sold out. They had to even to pay for the entrance. And Craft Now, it's a festival of craft and innovation, but all the contents are thought and designed to reach Gen Z. So I think it's very important to know how to speak their language. And then if you speak their language, you reach to them and they are interested in discovering crafts. As I told you, we had 2 days full of activities, workshops about crafts and talks about crafts. And all the people was maybe, I don't know, between 18 and 25 years old, more or less. And I have to say that most of them came from studies of design and art. So I think this circuit is interesting because, as Audrey just said, in primary school, it's difficult to have, a presence of crafts, but there are creative kids anyway. So when they grow up, they go to the creative areas, they think they can make out a living of it, and that's design or art school or art university. But these people, when they are already studying design in school, you can talk to them about crafts and they get very interested, and they can, make a turn there from design to art and from art and start studying postgraduate or maybe in craft school and develop a company from there related to crafts. But of course, I think the most perfect scenario would be that we also have some space in primary schools, so they don't have to go first to design and to art and go back to crafts. I really think, at least here from Artesanía Catalunya, where I work in, we are talking with education to try to have some space in primary schools to start just giving a small message, about crafts exist, and that's a possibility for you in the future. And also we are constantly developing different programs with the universities of art and design to connect with this audience. Actually, I have a really good news. It's that another design school in Barcelona is opening a new postgraduate in crafts. So this is a new thing. It's going to be working for the next course next year. And I think it's going to be the third school of design, in University of Design, in Barcelona, that they are designing a specific program for crafts. So it's not bad, and they have an international audience. They have students from all around the world. So I think there's a global tendency that we should try to take profit of. And I also wanted to share with you. I was listening to Félix and Audrey, what they were saying, and I think it came to my mind. Do you remember, like 20 years ago, the Bologna process about the universities, about the higher education, how Europe designed all these common system standards in terms of credits that the students can, keep studying in different European universities, and they still, it counts for them for the finite title, academic title. So maybe we could try to start our own Bologna process in craft studies. I don't know if it's too ambitious, but why not? It's one of the things we could try to lobby with in Europe.
Yeah.
Because we have the experience from Bologna process. It was a success. It has helped a lot of students to move, to experience, to share experience in different countries. And I think that's very enriches the academic itinerary of the student. So why not do that with crafts? It shouldn't be that. I mean, it would be long, but it shouldn't be that difficult because we have the previous experience of Bologna, and I think it could be made. So that's a thing we could try to work with.
Thank you so much, David. Why not? But it's astonishing that you say, well, we have the third experience in Spain of bringing crafts into universities and in this formal training, while in other countries this is so normal and natural. So you see all these big differences in Europe, and this is what probably hinders us to move forward. And I just wanted to share in the chat, there was a comment from Oficios Vivos. That person said as well that he or she, I'm not sure, is optimistic also because they see that there is this interest of young people for the crafts as well. It's not so negative as we sometimes see it. And you gave the example with the crafts now, which you sold all the tickets, even if it was paying, which is, we always have also this way of doing things where we make it really accessible, and most of the things that we organize are for free. So maybe we don't put the value on it ourselves. So we should also think of that. But I'm not here to give my opinion. I'm here to give the floor to See You, please. You raised your hand.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. I'm so inspired by Cristina, otherwise I don't want to raise my hand. I feel like very inspiring because that's exactly the situation I faced. So let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm a basket weaver and also artist. And luckily I'm selected by the Vision for Catalonia, organized by David. So luckily I got like increasing marketing demands from different galleries, like Europe, United Kingdom, and China. So that means exactly I need to find somebody who works for me. Otherwise, I could not fit in this market, and also important for me to survive. But the problem is I could not find the new generation who focus on craft. I could only find a group of Grammys. And that's a big challenge because otherwise they work like, okay, they could work next 5 years and what else? And then I have to explain to a gallery that, I don't have the team. And how can I present to other galleries that, okay, the average age of my team, it's over 60 age. That means maybe I don't have no responsibility for the gap. Oh, wait a second, I forgot my notes. And the second part, I feel like for me as a foreigner staying in Spain, when I work as an architect, I don't feel that strong sense of belonging because I only stay in a university or in office and my place, and then the rest part of Barcelona. So for me, I don't find a gate to understand the circulation of the environment until I met craftsmanship and the basket, the association give me the feeling, the sense of belonging until I know the material and the surrounding climates and condition and also objects. So for me, I feel like it is a big potential to let foreigner who live in European to understand the circumstance of Europe. And also for the third demands or my question, it's I got different innovated craft research, which I need somebody in different background. For example, the digital background. I already have some project like making transmit craft into a sensor, and so you could have like lighting effects or etc. But it means I really need some young people works for me or same age works for me, but I don't know how could I find them because they need this digital training, also craft training. And also I find when I teach in different countries or religions in the world, for example, I teach in Saudi Arabia and in China, and not yet in Spain because that's a Spanish technique. When I teach in Saudi Arabia, they really focus on the traditional material. They said, I want to use the traditional palm, our palm to use it. But when I see in Spain, they say, I found a lot of opportunity for reused materials. So they don't care that much about the local material. And also when I teach in China, they feel like okay, I could do whatever I want. I'm so excited to know this technique. So for me, it's like, I don't know, where could I find the people, they care about the traditional craft, they care about the local material, and also they have the different background. So for me, that's my problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sia. I think that was a nice finishing of a practical example from a young craftsperson that is experiencing issues and challenges as well. So as we see, everyone has challenges. We are reaching the end of this webinar session, policy forum. I don't know how to call it. There's so many names. I would like to ask Audrey and Félix and Amaya if they want to say or add anything else to what has been said, or if they have with all what has been shared today. No, Audrey, no. Félix, yes, always.
Como me conoces. Sí, bueno, a mí creo que es muy importante, me gustaría añadir que estamos en un momento clave para que podamos poner en marcha todo este tipo de iniciativas e intentar buscar acuerdos que permitan que la Unión Europea, la Comisión Europea, entienda que la artesanía es un sector no solo cultural, que lo es, también de gran impacto social, pero también con una gran relevancia económica. Porque aquí estamos personas de diferentes países y en otros foros sucede lo mismo. Todos estamos de acuerdo en lo importante. Tenemos identificado el problema, sabemos qué está sucediendo y va a ser muy fácil crear un marco común para todos. Es decir, si empezáramos a discutir qué es la artesanía en Europa, si somos 50 personas aquí, todos tendríamos nuestra propia definición de la artesanía. Pero estoy seguro que entre los 50 vamos a ser capaces de encontrar un marco, un paraguas que nos una a todos al margen de pequeñas diferencias, porque en lo fundamental estamos todos de acuerdo. Y eso yo creo que es muy importante y no había sucedido nunca antes.
Thank you so much, Félix. Yeah, that was one of my questions, but we don't have time. But this is like the spirit of also the ECA and all the big network that we represent and all the people that are participating here. And also the sense of the studies is to have material to start working all together towards promoting more crafts, make it visible, lobby the EU and show them how important this sector is. So I just wanted to thank everyone for their participation today. It has been a pleasure having you all here, all the contributions in the chat, the questions, and also all the ones that intervened directly. Thank you so much. I just wanted to share one last slide before, because otherwise my colleagues will kill me if I don't do that. We would like to know how this policy forum was for you. If you could just respond to the link that we are going to share in the chat, how we did, and to have some feedback so that, do we have the link on the chat? No? Let me find it, so that we have feedback so that we can improve, because as you know, today we were implementing this tool on to see how it works with these captions, if that worked. So please let us know how we did, okay? And thank you so much, and see you soon in a next webinar or event that we organize. Thank you. Bye-bye.